Hello, I'm Vrishali, a cloud support engineer here at the AWS office in Dallas. Today, I'm going to show you how to increase the binlog retention for your Amazon Aurora MySQL DB cluster. Let's get started. With Aurora MySQL-Compatible DB cluster, you can increase the availability of your Aurora MySQL-Compatible clusters binlogs by increasing the binlog retention period using the Amazon Relational Database Services predefined MySQL RDS set configuration procedure. Please note, turning on binlog for your Aurora MySQL-Compatible DB cluster has performance effects. Make sure that you review the knowledge article listed to increase the binlog retention for an Aurora MySQL-Compatible DB cluster. We need a custom cluster-level DB parameter group as users cannot update or modify parameters listed in the default cluster-level DB parameter group. After logging into the AWS Management Console, navigate to the RDS console. Then, select the parameter groups from the left pane on the RDS console. To create a custom cluster-level DB parameter group, select the Create Parameter Group button. Choose the Aurora parameter group family according to your Aurora MySQL-Compatible DB cluster's engine version. Make sure that you select the type as DB cluster parameter group from the drop-down list. Enter an identifier for the DB cluster parameter group. Provide an appropriate description for your easy reference. Choose Create. After you successfully create an Aurora DB cluster parameter group, on the Parameter Groups page, search for the newly created DB cluster parameter group. Select the parameter group. Now, select Edit Parameters at the top right corner of the console. In the parameters list, use the search bar and search for the parameter binlog format. By default, the binlog parameter is set to off. You can then change the value to row or statement or mixed, as needed for your use case. Here, I'll set the binlog parameter to mixed and then choose Save Changes. Now that we have a custom cluster DB parameter group, navigate to the list of databases on the RDS console. Select your Amazon Aurora MySQL-Compatible DB cluster and then choose the Modify button at the top right corner on the console. On the modification page, scroll down to the Additional Configuration pane and select the custom DB cluster parameter group from the drop-down list provided. Choose Continue. Choose your preferred method to schedule this modification and then choose Modify Cluster. Here, I'll apply the modification immediately. To apply the changes of the new custom DB cluster parameter group, you must reboot the cluster. So let's go ahead and reboot the writer instance of the cluster. Please note, rebooting the writer instance in a cluster reboots all the readers in that cluster. When the cluster is available, go ahead and connect to the Aurora cluster using the cluster's writer endpoint. Verify the binlog parameter using the Show Global Variables query. While connected to your Aurora DB cluster, check the binlog retention hours using the MySQL RDS show configuration procedure. By default, the binlog retention is set to null. To increase the binlog retention, run the AWS RDS predefined MySQL RDS set configuration procedure and set the retention period as needed for your use case. Here, I'll set the binlog retention to 168 hours, which is 7 days. Finally, to verify that the binlog retention period is updated, call the MySQL RDS show configuration procedure. It returns the value you set for the binlog retention period in the previous step. So now you know how to increase the binlog retention in your Aurora MySQL-Compatible DB cluster. Thanks for watching, and happy cloud computing from all of us here at AWS.